How you doing, family? This is going to be the first video uh, on the Bantu Tesla channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What I want to do here is now continue from where we left off. I gave the background on what we're going to be covering here. This is a YouTube video from one of my top analysts, one of the guys he's my top Tesla analyst, as well as he's excellent with just following Elon Musk and the different companies that he has created. Okay, but today we're going to cover Battery Day and the technology and the innovations and the savings and the improvements that Elon Musk has brought to the table to move Tesla into the next level of its vertical integration and using first principles in order to create a sustainable energy usage for the world. Okay, and what I want to do is hold your hand as we buckle up and listen to what my top analyst, this cat is way ahead of me in terms of the terminology and what's going on. I'm listening to upwards of 8 to 9 different folks that are knee deep in Tesla, and they do a much better job of explaining and articulating the details of Tesla, and I'm very familiar with what they're talking about. But as I post these YouTube analysts on my long-term investment channel on Facebook, I want to create this Bantu Tesla channel in order to better inform the people who are investing in the Tesla stock, the FUV stock, and a bunch of other stocks that I'm presenting on my in my private, and it's a private family and very close friend group, so you won't be able to get into this group on Facebook, but trust me, it is there. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm doing this public channel, which is Bantu Tesla, to help the members of my family that are on that Facebook channel to be able to have another place that they can come on YouTube and see somebody that looks like them, and that has the background and the experience to be able to articulate and explain to them exactly what these heavy hitters are talking about. Okay, so buckle up and let's get into what Galileo Russell. And again, my name is Russell Allen, and I am the creator of Bantu Tesla. And this guy, Galileo Russell, is like one of my top, and he is the youngest razor blade that's on the cutting edge of this technology, and he understands it because he's born into it. Okay, I got 50 years of stuff that I got to beat back. This cat is born into it, and he's sharp as a razor blade, and he's moving fast. So I'm gonna let him go for a minute or two, and then I'm gonna slow him down. If I think he says something that I need to stop and make sure you got it, I'm gonna stop it, explain what it is, and we're gonna go move on to the next one. Because basically, when I'm talking to you, I believe I'm talking to my 16-year-old grandson. That's who I'm talking to. Okay, all the rest of you folks, you should be able to get a lot more out of this. All right, but when you see me stopping, be patient, because even though I assume my grandson doesn't know a lot of this stuff, but if you're a woman and you're watching this channel, then and I don't want to be misogynistic and insulting, but women, a lot of women don't know this mechanical stuff and whatnot. So I'm not talking down to you. I'm talking up to you. I'm assuming you can get this. A lot of women can't get it, but I'm assuming you can get it. Okay, so let's get at it. Here we go. This is Galileo Russell, and this was presented on October 1st, and today is like what, the 3rd. So this was presented on top of October 1st, and this is Galileo Russell, and he's talking about Tesla's Battery Day. Skunkworks unlocks the Model 2. And that's just the title of this YouTube video. but he's going back over everything they covered, and he's pulling out, he's cherry picking the areas that he feels are most pivotal to that presentation that went on. That Battery Day presentation went on for almost 3 hours. So you need us to go in and pull out the stuff. We don't want to drag you through 3 hours. But you're going to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose when you're dealing with Galileo Russell. But I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to slow that down so you're drinking out of a water fountain. So I'm going to make sure you get it. Okay? Here's Galileo.
What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode. We have got so much Battery Day analysis and catching up to do. It's been about a week or 10 days since Tesla's Battery Day. I road tripped down and back. I've had some time, rewatched it like 3 times. Even at the Battery Day tour when I was attending, got a sneak on a VIP investor tour to actually see the new battery cell production plant that Tesla has in Fremont, California. There is so much to cover about this Tesla Battery Day. I think a lot of this has gone over the head of the traditional media and financial analysis community because this is deep technological breakthroughs. This is about bringing science and deep engineering into commercialization. And it's a lot of, frankly, really nerding out on battery tech that a lot of people just, aren't doing. But we're going to do it today. So Tesla, the big deal here with Battery Day is, how do we scale battery production? If Tesla's going to sell millions of cars that change the world, that transition us to electric cars, they need to build a massive amount of batteries, literally more than, exists today. And that is the problem that Tesla starts out by framing this, is that battery production today is about, 100 gigawatt hours for electric vehicles. We need to hit 10 terawatt hours, an 100x increase to be able to pump out enough vehicles every year to transition the whole fleet to electric over 15 years, 150 terawatt hours, 10 terawatts a year. So that is this goal, this massive, frankly, that all of humanity has to scale battery production to that level.
Okay, now he just talked about scaling up, okay, and he also mentioned grid battery and energy uses. The grid he's talking about is your local power company. They call that a power grid, okay? So that's what he's talking about, scaling up and renovating, completely redoing and rebuilding it and innovating that whole grid the way it's been ran. It's been running the same way for almost 100 years. They have not done, they've done some, but very little, just enough to make you think they're doing something. Okay? But Elon Musk has said enough jiving around, and it's time to take care of business. And that's what Galileo, we call him Gally. That's what Gally is talking about. Scaling battery production up to a level that it can meet the needs of Elon's vision of transportation revolution and energy usage revolution, which has to do with using battery technology to replace burning oil and gas and natural gas and other petroleum and oil-based products and whatnot. That's what he's talking about, the grid. And when he's talking about scaling up, that's what he means, building and producing enough batteries so that it can support the transition that we must do. Okay? Going back to Gally.
And so the other part of that is not just cars, but the actual grid itself is going to require another 10 terawatt hours of energy or battery production a year to transition from 100 gigawatt hours today. So this is, to me, the limiting factor, the biggest bottleneck constraint of how do we tackle the climate crisis is how do we scale that battery, amazing, cheap, efficient battery technology and get those battery cells everywhere in the world so we can stop using fossil fuels. That is what that was about today. And Tesla, frankly, is like nobody, the supply chain on the back end isn't moving fast enough to scale to where we want to go to be building millions of cars per year and really making a difference, not just doing a couple cars here and there. So we're going to do this in-house. We're going to vertically integrate. At first Tesla bought their cars from Lotus, then they started building them in-house in Fremont with the Model S, then they started doing battery pack production more in-house in Nevada with Panasonic still building the cells, and now today they're not only building themselves, they're also building the cathodes, and they also talked about getting into mining. So really what today was not about Tesla's new battery cell, wasn't about products. To me, it was about the launch of a battery division for Tesla and a new group within the company that is a targeted group of engineers to bring new advancements in battery technology to market. It's going to be a variety of different cells, a variety of different chemistries, but what it's amounting to is Tesla is going to be able to scale its battery production to meet all of these new crazy product ideas that it has. So now let's break this down.
So, okay, he's just brought out a very important point. Up until this particular announcement that's called Battery Day that Tesla has announced, Tesla was only known for making cars. Okay? That's all they were known for. They were never known for making their own batteries. But we knew this was coming because Tesla bought a particular company. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Hybar. The name of the company is Hybar. And Hybar is known for dry battery tech manufacturing. And they were the only companies that did this. And Elon saw the opportunity, realizes the value of that technology and that process, and he bought the entire company. Okay, and inculcated that in and just put that under the wing of Tesla, and they held on to it. But they sat and they watched Panasonic make batteries they built a factory that Panasonic helped to pay for, and Tesla just did like this and sat there and watched the whole battery manufacturing process. And they asked Panasonic if they could go faster, because what they wanted to do, they knew they needed more batteries. So when they realized that Panasonic didn't have the real chops to be able to do that, they took it upon themselves to just keep the contract with Panasonic, because they know they need every single battery he can get his hands on. So he's not going to, people started speculating, oh, he's going to get rid of, they're going to break the contract with Panasonic. Elon never said that. And he said it years ago. He said that we need every single battery we can get our hands on. So he said, because of that, excuse me, we're going to build the Gigafactory in Reno, Nevada. And that's why he did it, because he knew he would never have enough batteries. There's no way he could get rid of Panasonic. In fact, he went and got another contract with another battery producer in China. And I believe there's a couple of other battery producers that he signed on and got contracts with them. So he's keeping Panasonic. He's got CA China, a battery producer, CATL. He's got another battery producer whose name I can't think, LG Chem, okay? And one or two others. So he needs all of their batteries. And on top of that, he just announced with this presentation called Battery Day that Tesla is now manufacturing for the first time. This adds to their vertical integration. In other words, the Panasonic place is in the same factory with Tesla stuff. And so Tesla is going to be now bringing battery manufacturing, and they were even thinking about going into mining to bring that in and vertically integrate that into their company, so they don't have to go outside to get stuff and wait for those other people to give them stuff, because at the pace they want to move, they need stuff under their control. That's why I'm trying to tell you folks, you've never seen anything like this. And you got to get behind it, and we cannot be left behind. We're already playing catch up on a whole bunch of other psychosocial and religious and nonsense and craziness. We gotta get on top of this, folks. This is happening now. We're on the ground level here, and we got to be on top of this. We cannot be left behind on this, black folks. We have got to be on top of this. And that's my motivation. Nobody else is going to do it, so I'm going to do it. Am I an angry black man? No. What you're looking at is passion, because I can see the value of this moment in time. This is very important for us. So let's get on top of it. Let's have some fun, and let's make some money in the process. Because the way You make money in the stock market is you get on something before everybody else can catch on to it. And these morons and idiots on Wall Street are 5, 10 years behind. So if you jump on this now, in 5 or 10 years, every dollar you spend on a Tesla stock or buying a Tesla car or using that car to join the Tesla network, and they're coming out with their own robo-taxi system. They're coming out with it, folks. The first ones who jump on that, you're going to make that money, baby. And you're going to make that money. And you use that money to free yourself from the bondage of this system. See, because when you got money, you don't have to be a part of this system. The system works for you. And that's where I want black folks to be. No more back of the bus for us. We're going to use our ancestral knowledge. Our ancestors created all this science that Elon Musk is using. Okay? Read the books. It's all there. We talked about this on my other channel. We created this science and this technology. They just took it to the next level. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And we got to get behind this and get on board with this and back this man up. This ain't racial. This is economics. This is survival. This is about moving forward and freedom. That's why I'm in on this, folks. I'm in on this for 2 reasons. Number one, I love tech. I love technology. It's clean, it's fresh, and it's going in the direction that I believe this whole existence is about. Being better. We got to be better. Every day we got to do better, we got to know better, and we got to be better. Okay? And when you want to be better, you go with the folks that are about moving this world forward. See, that's why I'm in on this, and I love it because it's a lot of fun. Okay? Let's get at it.
This is the chart that Tesla sort of uses to break down the 5 categories of innovation that they did. So it's not just one innovation. There's like 5 scientific breakthroughs here that occurred at once. Let's start with the first one here, cell design. So this is the big, I think personally this is the thing that most excited me, was Tesla's getting into making and designing their own battery cells. And we knew that if they didn't have to do that 2170 cell, Elon Musk could go to the drawing board with this potentially dry electrode format, a new way to heat and cool the cells with the tabless electrode. They could design a much bigger cell. So basically, the biggest thing about the cell redesign, and forgive me, I'm not a battery expert, I'm a little over my head here, but I'm trying to do my best, but is the removal of the tab. Every single battery cell has this little tab thing that requires, and all the energy funnels through that. And it's a big sort of bottleneck for the entire way the battery works. And so the biggest breakthrough that Tesla has with their cell is this tabless electrode. It looks beautiful. It's like all these little sheets, simpler manufacturing, fewer parts, 5x reduction in an electrical path. And so it looks like a bunch of mini tabs essentially stacked into one, rolled into this, but it's so much more efficient than the current cell. So Tesla unveils this incredible new cell for the 4680, essentially, 46 by 80 millimeters, 6x power, 16% range increase, 5x the amount of energy. So this is the new battery cell that is frankly the unbelievable game changer. And basically because they've unlocked this new heating and cooling mechanism for the cell and this tabless architecture, that's allowed them to do the bigger cell, which everybody knows could mean that they could squeeze more energy into these packs. And so basically what we have here is this tabless electrode breakthrough is allowing Tesla to have this new form factor of the cell that holds way more energy, and that in turn is going to allow them to redesign the whole way the battery pack works around this new battery, not even just making a battery, making a structural piece of the car. But we're going to get into that in a sec. Huge shout out to The Limiting Factor, one of my YouTube buddies who I had on this channel a while ago. He nailed this, and he has incredible deep dive technological videos if you want to get more into that. But then, so Tesla shows us that, and then we go into the next part of it.
Now, okay, he mentioned my buddy. His name is, oh my God, Jordan Gieseke. Crazy name. The man lives in, I believe, Netherlands, okay, which is somewhere down around Australia, okay? And his name is Gordon Gieseke, and he's one of my analysts. See, all of us basically, I'm the new kid on the block, okay? There are no black people doing this at all. This is not racial, folks. This is just facts. And until we see somebody that looks like us, the brainwashing that we have been subjected to for the last 455 years, Unfortunately, it's gone subliminal. Okay, most of us don't even realize why we can't pay no attention to anybody white, because we have just been so traumatized. Okay, so I have to do this for our young people, so they begin, like when I grew up, I had black teachers. Okay, a lot of my friends and people I know, they never had any black teachers, so they don't know what it's like to see somebody that looks like them talking this kind of science and talking this kind of knowledge. That's all I've ever grown up with. You know, even when I was in high school, we had at Evander Childs in the Bronx, Northeast Bronx. I mean, Gun Hill Road. I mean, are you kidding me? You know, back in the 70s, I'm talking about here, folks. We had black teachers. I had people sitting up in the classroom who look like me. You know, so what's going on here now? I don't understand it at all. You know, so that's why I'm doing this, okay? But and so that's why we gotta understand. Even though in this case, the top guys who are the analysts that are really, a lot of these guys do this stuff just as a hobby, you know. But most of these guys that are doing this are engineers, or have some kind of degree or master's degree in engineering, on whether it's computer tech or whether it's chemical tech. Now Gordon Gisage, he's a chemical engineer. That's what he does, all right? And so that's want to explain to you who he's talking about. And Gordon's channel, Gordon Gisage's channel, is called The Limiting Factor, okay? And that's why you're going to hear Gally using a lot of this terminology about the limiting factor, and a lot of this terminology he uses in relation to battery tech. He's telling you that he's doing the best he can, but he's not a chemical engineer. And that's the kind of experience and knowledge, wisdom you need in order to be able to articulate a lot of this stuff, this battery tech that Elon Musk and his name is Drew Bagalino is the other guy on stage that's doing this presentation at Battery Day for Tesla. Okay, and let's go on with this. But he's talking about Jordan Gisage from
the actual cell factory, how these battery cells get produced, not just designing the cell on paper, but how do we actually build this thing? And this is the part to me that when I got the tour of, I was totally blown away. And when Drew says, like, this isn't a pilot plant, like, we're actually building these cells down the road. That's what I love about Tesla. They don't just show it, they're doing it. They're building this massive production plant there. And a lot of it starts with the electrode, which typically is a wet process. They bought Maxwell Technologies, as you know, if you've been following Hyperchange, and they've innovated with the dry electrode. They showed us a really cool video about how they use that dry process to turn powder into film. And this is a revolutionary way that allows them to speed up the manufacturing of their battery technology. And then they have this high-speed continuous motion assembly, which I saw in person. I mean, this is just insane. The way the speed is just, it's like bullets that are coming out of this thing. And they say this new assembly line is capable of 20 gigawatt hours of production, a 7x line input. So this is, to me, why it was called Project Roadrunner, the code name of this, because it was all about increasing the speed at which these batteries could roll off the production line. And the fact, the throughput of these lines is insanely faster than anything historically. And that's going to lead to all sorts of improvements in terms of cost, efficiency, ability to ramp, all that sort of stuff. And I mean, the way that they're automating this factory is insane. I mean, when I got the tour, they were mentioning that a lot of this is actually due to Groman Engineering. And I think this is a big part of it. Groman was a German sort of automated robotic manufacturing company they bought a couple of years ago. And they've been using them at the Gigafactory in Nevada. And when I was doing the tour of the Nevada Gigafactory, they really interestingly showed me on the line how they were automating, basically, removing human tasks with machines that were designed in-house by this Groman unit for Tesla. And it sounds like a lot of that expertise has been carried over into this battery production division. Really fascinating to see how Tesla repurposes this automotive robotics production company, Groman, into battery cell, parts. And they've really, turned this Groman engineering company into like a crazy R&D powerhouse that's building all these massive machines that go into the Tesla factories. Anyway, that's something to nerd on out right there. But then the craziest part about all of this is this new cell and the new way to produce it. This is the part that blew my mind. They say they're going to be able to hit 100 gigawatt hours in 2022 and 3 terawatt hours by 2030. First of all of Tesla right now to build 500,000 cars is doing about 30.
Okay, so there he's talking about Groman is a company, another company like Highbar that Tesla bought, and they took their technology and applied it and vertically integrated it into what they wanted to use that process for. So Grumman is a automotive manufacturing that had the ability to the manufacturing ability to do something in a way that Tesla needed it in order to speed up their innovation. And another pivotal thing here that is historic that's going on here, and why Elon Musk is really one of the most valuable people on the planet, and as it relates to America, America doesn't manufacture hardly anything at all. We lost manufacturing all through the 80s and the 90s. We lost steel manufacturing to China, all the other manufacturing to China. Basically, everything went to China, Korea, South Korea, the Philippines, and Mexico, because their labor rates are so much cheaper. And the companies just couldn't look at the numbers and continue to see themselves losing profits, and because everything is based on profits for them. They don't care about your jobs and all that other stuff. So now what Elon Musk is doing, he's bringing manufacturing back to America, but the only downside is robots are doing a lot of the manufacturing. But hey, at least we're getting the tax money. We're getting something. That money is flowing into our communities, is flowing into our schools. And who knows, maybe Tesla may have enough money flowing into our school system where he may be able to influence the curriculums, that he can make sure that they're teaching kids the basic STEM subject, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. They call it STEM, STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and math. These are the key components, key curriculums and key subjects that you need to master in order to be involved with innovative technology, okay, and disruptive technology. All right, so that's what he's talking about. The company that they picked on is brought in and they bought out is brought in specifically to help Elon and Tesla get into manufacturing batteries for the first time. They never manufactured batteries before now. This announcement in 2020 in September is the actual announcing the fact that Tesla is now going to be manufacturing their own batteries. And they start out the gate by by totally innovating and creating an entirely new battery that has never existed, using a tabless battery, which means that the electrons can get out more faster, more efficiently. They don't have to go around the whole coil and get to the one tab and then get out and start going to the motor that they're going to run. They don't have to do that. Each millimeter of the thing has this weight, so the electrons come right out. There's no and that riding around thing with the electrons, that creates heat. So that means the battery now is going to be more powerful because it can get the energy out faster, and it's going to have less heat. So that means they don't have to spend a lot of energy trying to cool it back down. He said that Elon Musk works on the principle of the best process is no process at all. Okay? The best process is no process at all. Remember that, folks. Here we go. Buckle up.
5 gigawatt hours of battery production. They're saying with this new cell, they can get to triple that capacity in 2022. I totally think it's way too good to be true. I mean, this is insane. That would be 100 gigawatt hours. That's 5 of these production lines that can each do 20 gigawatt hours each. I guess they're going to do 1 in Fremont. They're going to set up 4 in Austin is my guess, or maybe a couple in Berlin too. But I mean, this is insane. To me, this is the stat that totally blew me away, is that this is a lot. And I think they were sandbagging how ready this is for commercialization, not to Osborne effect new products. Same with this new cell, they can get to...
Okay, I got to stop you there, because you got to understand what he just said. Basically, he just told you that all of the cars that Tesla is making right now, he's only using 30 to 35 gigawatts worth of batteries. Okay, you don't need to know exactly what gigawatt and all that. Don't worry about the paralysis of the analysis. You don't need all that. You just need to keep the thing in your head and understand that all of these cars that he's producing right now, and Tesla is on the verge. I think he's going to report that this year they will have for the first time produced 500,000 cars. Last year they produced 200 and some odd million cars, and Elon Musk promised that his stockholders that he says he can easily increase production and profit 50%. That's his goal, and he may be a little short this year because of the COVID virus that the moron in DC allowed to get out of control because he's a moron. Okay, and that's our fault for allowing the Russians to put that prick in the office. Okay, anyway, so I need you to understand that that's what he's talking about when he says that they've created all the current cars that they're using on 35 gigawatts of battery production.
To triple that capacity in 2022. I totally think it's way too good to be true. I mean, this is insane. That would be 100 gigawatt hours. That's 5 of these production lines that can each do 20 gigawatt hours each. I guess they're going to...
So what he's just said now, by 2022, Tesla's going to move from what he's doing this year in 2020. So in 2 years, he's going to triple the amount of battery production because of this new technology, this new battery and this whole battery manufacturing system that he just announced in 2020. So by 2022, he's going to move from creating getting all the batteries from Panasonic, all the batteries that he can get from Catel, all the batteries he can get from LG Chem, and the batteries now that he's making himself. With all of that combined, Tesla is going to be able to create and going to be able to increase their battery production from 35 gigawatts of battery production to 100 gigawatts of battery production. So that means if he can create 500,000 cars with 35 gigawatts of battery power, if he can bump that up to 100 gigawatts of power, now that means he can create 3 times the amount of cars by 2022. And every quarter that he meets that production increase, the stock is going to go up accordingly, folks. Execution, that was the word I was looking for in the last video. When you get a CEO that tells you he's going to do something and he does it, that's called execution. And very few CEOs can do that, especially something as complex and massively detailed that Tesla is producing. He is multitasking on an exponential level. Okay? In other words, 3 to the third power. 3 times 3 times 3 cubed. And we see there's some of that math in school, it actually comes in handy now, so that's what you got to understand. So in other words, he's going to go from creating 500,000 cars a year, he's going to be making 1.5 million cars by 2022. That's what he just mentioned, and that's why it's savage. That's why it is a sudden and abrupt radical increase and groundbreaking, mind-boggling things that have never been done before. And this is just one thing, folks. I want you to understand the magnitude of what you're watching. And when you see my energy, it's because I want you to understand. This is what's going down. And if you over there sleeping and you watching wrestling and that dumb shit, while you standing around, you're falling behind. If you're not on top of this stuff and what's going on with these cars, you're falling behind. And if you think that you're going to just roll on up here later on and just roll out and let everybody do all the work, and you dumb don't know what the hell's going on, and you're going to be clinging to these gas-powered cars, and you're going to say, oh, they look so cheap, but look at the price. I got to get one. Watch the movie, folks. Don't be a fool all your life. Here we go.
Going to be 1 and 3. Because the fact is, if they can get to 100 gigawatt hours in 2 years, I mean, the amount of novel shit Tesla's doing here of scaling this battery from, new cell design, new way to build the cell, new cathode production, like all of these different puzzle pieces going into commercializing this cell. It's going to be take a lot to actually get it into commercialization, into a working product at all. And the fact that they think they can hit 100 gigawatt hours, and this isn't even just Tesla. This is just Tesla's internal cell production. You talk about what they're doing with CATL and Panasonic. That's another million cars a year worth of battery cells they're going to be getting by 2022 from those partners. This 100 gigawatt hours is another, million, 2 million worth of vehicle cells. So in 2 years, Tesla's basically reading between the lines here, saying that they can have enough battery cells to pump out 4 million cars a year. That as they hit some.
Okay, correction. He said 4 million cars. No, can't do that. I love Gally, but he gets hyper. That's why the name of his channel is Hyper Change. Okay, it's not 4 million. He's going a little bit ballistic there. If he's producing 500,000 cars this year in 2020, Elon Musk said that he's going to be able to increase car manufacturing by 50%. So if he did 500,000 this year, in 2021, by the end of this time, year over year, Y over Y, in other words, this December, he's going to cut off that's the cutoff time to measure how many cars he has created in the year. And based on the stats and the direction they're going in, his goal was to make 500,000 because he made 250,000 last year. So 50% of the improvement actually is only like around, what's half of that? That's like 125,000 cars. So he only needed to really make 250,000 times another 125. It's like 375,000 cars. He made 500,000 cars. So he beat the 50% that he said he was going to do. So now next year, in the whole year, he made 500,000 cars this year. Next year, he's only required, in order to keep his stockholders and get the stock, and that was an agreement that he made with his stockholders, that he has to improve his production by 50%. So 50% of 500,000 cars is 250,000 cars. So 500,000 plus 250,000 cars is 750,000 cars by the end of 2021. Okay? So now if we go to 2022 and you got 750,000 cars, half of 750,000 cars is 375,000 cars. So 750,000 plus 375 is like 1,125,000 cars by the end of 2022. Galileo said 4 million. No, it's 1 million. Oh geez, let me do the calculator. Anyway, I'll do that. I'll post it on the thing. It'll be on the screen. I'll calculate it and put it on post production. I'll fix it, right? But it's not 4 million cars. Gally is off on that. All right, it's actually only 1,175,000 cars. That's all he's required to make in 2022, just to keep his stock and his payment coming to him in stock from the board. That was his agreement. He would give them he would guarantee them a 50% improvement in the production of the company, okay, year over year. And that only adds up to 1 million, rounded numbers, 1,200,000 cars by the end of 2022. Galley said 4 million, and you can see he's going 1,000 miles. He's young. He's very, very brilliant, but unfortunately he's just off on that particular number. Okay, let's go.
I don't know. That's basically what I'm reading. By the end of 2022. That'll let you, I don't know. I mean, this is exactly the kind of crazy scaling that Tesla needed to really turbocharge revenue growth going forward. I mean, this blew me away. And 3 terawatt hours by 2030. I mean, these are the numbers that are showing how Tesla quickly scales into the hundreds of billions of revenue range through this decade as they hit some of these battery pack numbers. I mean, if you just back out how many vehicles this is, it's tens of millions at 3 terawatt hours of vehicles, and I'll let you figure out how much revenue that is. Those two combinations result in a 32% dollar per kilowatt hour reduction. The new type of cell, the new way to build that cell. I actually think that's the bulk of the innovation that excited me. This next part in the anode materials, they're using silicone, which usually expands and doesn't work. They have some new way where they calculate in the expansion. So I don't know, this is a little over my head, but it's only a 5% cost reduction. I don't know, I didn't know enough about the silicone anode part of it. You can leave that below. But I thought the next part of this was very interesting.
Okay, what he's talking about here, I'm not going to take you into this anode cathode stuff. You don't need to know that stuff. All right, so I'm gonna kind of like let him go through this nonsense. We ain't gonna deal with no anode cathode and how they make the anode and how they use silicon to improve the reduction in dendrites and the shorten out and all that. You don't need to know all that stuff. All right, we're gonna move past all this. I don't want to even deal with that. So let's see how far we can get. I want to look at this right here. This is important. This is called the diversified cathode approach. All right. When he said cathode, I'm not gonna get into the chemistry of it and all the tech that they're using to improve the cathode. Cathode is just one of the different. You have an anode and a cathode and a separator, and that's how you get power. It flows from the cathode to the anode, or the anode to the, I don't know. It's not necessary. One flowing one way is you're using the power. When it flows back the other way is when you're recharging the battery. So that's all you need to know. In a battery, stuff moves from one side to the other, and then when you're charging it back up, it moves back to the other side. That's what they're talking about when they're talking about anode and cathode. Okay? It's just the two sides that the electrons move from one side to the other. That's all you need to know. They get into a lot of microchemical and white folks are left side. Our white brothers, they just left side. They very detail unnecessarily. They get nuts, and it's not necessary. We don't need to know all that. That's paralysis of analysis, right? We need to know it's better and they got improved, and that's all we need to know. Good. Okay, moving on. Okay, now he's showing you the chart, but this is where you're going to hear him use the terminology bifurcated. What was that term he used? Let me see if I still have that chart up here. I want to make sure I'm giving you all the right data. Okay, okay, he's going to use, bifurcated. That's bifurcated. That means, it means a product structure that means bifurcated product structure means that, hold on, I'm trying to get this thing to separate, and okay, it won't do it. I wanted to get it to, it won't do it. All right. Okay, good, it blew up. Yeah, it means that, you're going to have two optional ways to make a product. So that's why you're going to hear him use the term bifurcated product structure. Okay. Oops, wrong one. Let me go back to Galley. Okay. All right. And you're going to see that here. And when he's talking about bifurcated, he's talking about the way they bifurcated. That means they'll manufacture a battery one way using iron-based long cycle life technology for the smaller cars, the cheaper cars, because the iron-based cycle life of technology is less expensive. So you put that stuff in the cheaper model cars, and the battery storage, the grid battery storage, because these things, they're heavier. The reason you use it on the smaller, cheaper cars is because the iron-based battery is heavier. And heavy, when you're doing a heavy battery, you want to put that in a smaller vehicle that requires a smaller battery and a less expensive battery. Okay, and your grid storage batteries are not going to be moving around anywhere, so you throw all your cheapest, high efficiency but cheaply manufactured batteries into that, right? Okay, because you can make them things big as you want, or you can, in the case of the small car, those are the bifurcated. When he said bifurcated manufacturing process, is bifurcated for the iron-based batteries, meaning using that for two different types of things: the new cheap vehicle, the Model 3s, and your storage batch. So the new cheap vehicle and the Model 3 you're going to see on the chart on the top, right? But the bifurcation is the black line in between the top and the bottom. That's what breaks it into two different bi. The word, anytime you hear the word bi, means two. Okay? And then in the next section, when you get to the nickel manganese battery, which is a little more expensive, now he's going to use that with the lithium batteries to manufacture the more expensive or low, locally used products that are like the Tesla home battery backup system, battery storage system that backs your house up, and the Model 3 as well. Okay, and the Model Y. All right, you're also going to use that nickel manganese lithium-based cathode production battery in your high-end cars that Tesla's going to be making, which is the Model S and the Model X. So you're going to have your Model S, your Model X, your Model S and X. They're the bottom half of the bifurcated usage of that nickel manganese battery that you see here on this chart. On the top of that, you see the battery backup system, what they call a home battery backup system, and the Model Y, which is a smaller car, so you can use that manganese nickel to deal with that, but because you want to have a little more power for that car, because these are bigger cars. Okay, they're smaller than the S and the X, but still that Model Y is that's a pretty big car. So you want that lighter nickel. See, nickel is lighter. Nickel and manganese is lighter than iron. So you put the heavy metals in your smaller cars, the $25,000 car that they have covered up right here, and then you have the Model 3 is the one that's next to it on the top of the two levels of usage for the iron base, and the grid battery is the big one on the bottom. Now you go over to the nickel based, they use cathode, but that means battery, okay? And you're going to use that. It's a lighter battery, but you put that in your bigger cars. So now you got a lighter battery because the battery pack is going to be bigger. So you want to use your lighter technology so that it won't bog down the mileage and the range and the efficiency of that car. So you put a lighter battery with a lighter technology that is also inexpensive. And that's why Tesla is manufacturing their own battery. See, they want to have the ability to define and control on a micro level how they're gonna do. And see, this is why he's gonna savage. He's gonna savage the car manufacturers. And listen, he's trying to be nice, but the organic DNA of his mindset and his first principle process and vertical integration, just the nature of that is gonna wipe out the car companies, because they're still just 2 steps from horse and buggy. This man is putting people up in the space station and landing rockets standing up while these people are still trying to hold on. And listen to, you get a chance, listen to Sandy Monroe, another old white engineer, a guy who happens to be white. I don't want to get into this race thing, but he happens to be white. And he is old, and he's saying, I used to work for these people for 30 years. And he said, anytime you want to get anything done, you had to go to the committee, and it would take them 5 years if it was approved. Elon is doing stuff in 6 months when it took these car manufacturers 5 years, folks. This is why I'm doing this channel. I want you to understand how far behind these people are on Tesla, and they cannot catch up. They're mentally deranged and jacked up, and they will never get it. They're still holding on to these old ways, and this is why they're going to get destroyed. And that's why I'm telling you, get your money in this Tesla. They're going to be destroyed. And if you got your money in here, you're going to be a millionaire, folks. I'm not talking no jive. We ain't talking about no $100,000 here. I'm telling y'all, if you got $20,000, $30,000, you take every dime you got and you put it into that Tesla stock and sit back and wait 5 years. And I guarantee you, this is not hyperbole. This is facts. This is science. This is not feeling or hope or faith. This has nothing to do with that. This has to do with facts and science. Okay? And if you can get this, you'll be a millionaire. But if you go ahead, you want to hold on to the other stuff, you're wasting your time. This is going to happen whether you like it or not. They could kill Elon and it won't stop a damn thing. This cat is already out the bag. And this is what people like me and Gally and all these guys, race doesn't matter because this is science. It's a fact. If you don't get this, you're going to get left behind. And you're going to be caught with your pants down, and people are going to be running past you, and you'll be stumbling because your pants are sitting down around your ankle. Okay? So get with this and open your mind up. Young people, I'm talking to 15, 16-year-olds. Open your mind up. Pay attention to this, and you're going to see you will be millionaires. This jive that these old folks that are going through right now, I really feel bad for them. But they had to work with what they had. This is what they had. This is what we got now, folks. This is a quantum leap into the future. And I want you to be a part of it, okay? Sorry for the monologuing. Here we go.
Which is how they talk about the cathode and this diversified cathode approach to have sort of a bifurcated different battery strategy for each type of product. And if you think about it, I think this is brilliant. The Model 2 doesn't need as much stress on its batteries as semi-truck. You can put a cheaper battery in there, charge less for it, versus, the Cyber or Semi, where you need to pull up these crazy weights, you need to have all this performance, you need to have a different battery cell, you want the nickel-based cell versus the iron-based cell, and then nickel manganese for that sort of in-between long range. So I think it's really cool to see how Tesla's bifurcating this battery approach for different needs for different vehicles. And it's obviously, I think this slide to me shows that beyond the Plaid Model S, you might be like, well, what are the first cars these new battery cells are going into? It's going to be the Cybertruck and it's going to be the Semi coming out of Austin. That's why I think they're going to set up all these battery production lines in Austin, which is what I've been saying pre-battery day, honestly. That's exactly what I think they're going to do. And then use this Fremont production line for the Plaid Model S. But, we're not going to be seeing these actual new cells in vehicles until late 2021, it sounds like. But anyway, going back to this, the cathode, this is the next piece of the puzzle here. The way that cathode production works, and I've said this before, but and Elon says in the presentation, that little nickel atom goes around the world 10 times before it actually gets in the car because, you're mining it and then you're shipping it to China to get turned into a cathode, then you're shipping it here to get turned into a cell, then you're putting it here to get in the car, then you're shipping the car to the person. I mean, it's crazy. And so Tesla has this vision, and this is what I was not expecting. I was expecting the new cell, I was expecting the new cell production plant, but the new cathode, this is another step of vertical integration that to me was 5 years down the road that Tesla just swallowed up now. Savage. And now, instead of shipping it to China, they have the cathode production site on plant, or the cathode production site, right there, as part of the Fremont plant, as part of the battery plant. And so when I got the...
I'm sorry. Okay, Gally is just the funniest dude. I mean, see when he says savage, It's like, you know, he's just like it's just, you know, it's mind-boggling. It's the only, and the only other way to say it is savage. It's devastating. See, folks, I'm doing for you what nobody else is doing, folks. I'm animating for you the value of what is going on when you think nothing is going on. I'm telling you, when Elon tells you something, he's not telling you what he's going to do. He's telling you what he has done. And that's when I learned creative writing. My when I at Fordham University is where I learned how to write. And my professor at Fordham University told me, he said, listen, I don't want to hear what you're going to do. I don't want to hear what you're finna about to. My son used to say, I'm finna about to go. And I said, Josh, don't tell me what you finna about to do. You know, all people really want to know is what you've done already, completed. And that's what Elon is telling y'all. When he tells you, when he's showing you here on this graph, he's telling you what they've already done. And when he takes you to when he shows you this factory and I'll show you all them things working and wheeling, he's showing you what they have already done, folks. This ain't no fin about to get ready and about to do and thinking about. It's already done. And I'm telling you that these other, what they call them legacy automakers. Legacy. Legacy means from the past. Okay? And legacy automakers haven't even begun to catch up to get in the door to where this man is already doing it, folks. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This ship has left. It's on the other side of the world. And all of the legacy automakers are just pulling up to the dock and saying, where's the boat? What happened? They told us it was going to be here in about a year or two. The dumbasses. This boat done left and gone on the other side of the world. They're so stupid. Okay, and I'm not meaning to insult them, but I want you to get it. I want you to get this, you know, to see how far behind they are, right? Okay, let's move it.
The production site on plant, or the cathode production site, like right there as part of the Fremont plant. As part of the battery plant. And so when I got the battery cell production line tour, they were like, one more thing. And that one more thing was not a Model S plaid ride, unfortunately. It was the tour of the cathode production line. So nerdy. But I absolutely love that. And it was just fascinating to see how they're doing the cathode production in-house. It's over my head. I thought that would have been way too hard, but apparently they're pulling it off. And they even say they're going to build a Tesla cathode facility in Nevada and to shorten the travel distance of these cathodes. And to me, it's like, it kind of makes sense because instead of spending all that money to ship the cathode all around the world and repackage it here to ship it to here to do that, if you do it all in sight, maybe we can stomach some of the cost of that new technology because we're having it travel less and we're not forcing it to get packaged. There's a lot of streamlining vertical integrations that go on there. And I thought it was fascinating that actually got to talk to Drew a little bit and the executives after I snuck on the investor tour. And they were saying how, you know, there's so many, there's so, like a bottling factory. They show this footage of these crazy factories that have been perfected for decades, you know, all this technology, all this machinery, all this equipment, the like almost the golden age of American manufacturing that we lost. And they were showing that to their team to be like, look at how we can refine this. Look at how amazing and automated and precise and beautiful these bottle making machines are to get inspiration for the battery team. And so, I don't know, this is kind of me getting sidetracked, but I loved that kind of philosophy of like this the romanticizing of American manufacturing and bringing it back and glorifying it, making it something awesome that should be, you know, is a miracle of engineering. And that's really what Tesla's going for here. But anyway, so they're doing the cathode, and they're not even just doing the cathode. They also want to get into clay mining, basically. So they also bought a clay mine in Nevada. So they're going to basically mine this lithium and then turn it into a cathode all on site and then ship it to Fremont. I mean, the amount of steps and distance traveled they have just taken out of the battery supply chain here is absolutely insane if they can pull this off. And I think this is a lot of early R&D, but I was actually talking to someone, shout out to Alex Grant, who was sort of an expert in clay extraction. He's written a bunch of interesting stuff. I'll put a link below to his latest article. And he's been following like 30 or 40 of these clay extraction lithium products around the world. And it's interesting to see that this is sort of emerging as new technology. Now Tesla's... Wow, Tesla's...
Okay. I'm gonna wrap this up here because they're gonna go now into the mining, some of the innovative ideas and the new decision that Tesla has decided to take it. They're gonna go even another level. Yes, what they basically showed you is the battery manufacturing process and the materials that they plan to use in order to make the cathode and the anode part of the battery, right? Now what he's talking about is lithium mining in order so they can get enough lithium. So basically what he's trying to tell you is that they're in the process of making a process where they can get lithium from that's laying right around them, rather than send or have people send them lithium processed from on the other side of the world or anything. They got lithium laying around right around them. So they bought a company that they bought the process of being able to get lithium out of clay. That and Nevada is built right there, so they're gonna start mining the clay that's just laying around them and making their own lithium, okay, and adding that to the battery. And what he's basically telling you is every process that they get rid of, it's going to make more money for the company, and it's going to make the stock more valuable. That's the key thing I want you to understand. The stock is getting valuable. I got 30 seconds. I want to thank you for watching the channel. I want to apologize for making you drink from a fire hose anyway, and I promise not to do that. Each one, I'm going to get a little bit better, and I'm going to try to slow this down for you as much as possible. And when we do the live programs, I'm going to go over this stuff all over again. So don't feel like you're not going to get a chance. You will be able to watch it over and over again. But if you want to stop and ask me in particular questions, I'm going to start doing some live shows, okay? Just for you. Welcome to the Bantu Tesla channel. And I want to thank you for watching. Be careful, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next movie.